Hello. Hey, howdy, hey, Heidi, hi, Heidi ho, Heidi low. How's it going, everyone? Oh boy. Welcome back to the Cybernetic Séance Podcast. We are episode 9, right? Episode 9. I lost track. We took a 2-week break in case none of you guys have noticed, but we're back, and it's good to be here. I see everybody rolling into the old chat. Let me confirm myself here. My rumors. Yes, we are episode 9. God damn, episode 9. Took a 2-week break, but it feels good to be back. Needed to rejuvenate the old batteries, as they say. Avoid the that burnout, if you know what I mean. But let's get certain things out of the way. We got a really cool show ahead of you guys tonight. Once again, my name is Ryan Laney, aka Ryan Frankenstein. I play Nexus, the chrome face zombie robot in the band Our Frankenstein. And you are watching the Cybernetic Séance Podcast. Let's get some announcements here out of the way so you guys can deal with this hot mess that is a show. We've got an online store. We got a bunch of new merch up there, and we got some new merch coming. That's storefrontier.com/Our Frankenstein. I'm sure you can see the old scrolling banner here. I got to do the old plug before we get started. Also, we have a show coming up on October 15th. It's our first show back since we got off tour. We're playing in Downey, California. It's a headlining show. Where is it? Aha! Yeah, here we go. It's a headlining show at Club Terminal. We've got the Androgen opening up, and we got DJs Terminal, Revenant, and Terror keeping the mood pumping throughout the night. So it's a really cool show. It is 21 plus, so don't bring your kids. Sorry, guys. And doors open at 9:30. Parking is free. The show is free for the first 30 minutes doors open. After that, I believe it's $15. But hope to see you guys there. It's going to be a real good night. We also have a new announcement that we announced a few days ago. If you guys have been paying attention, Our Frankenstein has a special show coming up. But don't let me tell you, because I'm really bad with words. Let's use this whole trailer here.
October 31st, Our Frankenstein comes to your home. We are happy to announce the Hypercult Halloween live stream show, broadcasting directly from the Bubonic Corp warehouse. This global event will be streaming exclusively on our YouTube channel.
That's right. Our Frankenstein is playing in your living room this Halloween, and I do not want to hear the excuse that I can't make it to your show, because it'll be available to view any day after its live airing. But yeah, that's right. Hypercult Halloween airs live on Halloween, 5:00 West Coast Standard Time, 8:00 Eastern Standard Time. And if you go on any of our social media, you'll see kind of around the world. If you guys are viewers from around the world, we have different viewing times from around the world. If you go on our social media, and we'll have it posted as well again for multiple cities around the world for those who want to watch us. But that out of the way, we are excited for that. But that out of the way, I want to get into our new guests here tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, Rikk R Treat from the band The Writhers. Let's go!
What's up?
Woo! What's up, man? How you doing?
I'm good, man. How are you? It's been a while.
It's been a hot minute,
It's
man.
been a while. I think the last time that I've seen you, we played together in San Diego with my old band JXV and Justin Cymbal.
Yeah, wow.
It was a good time.
That was in San Diego, right?
Yeah. At Till 2 Club.
Till 2 Club, which is that still around? Is that Till 2 Club still alive?
Yeah, there's some drama with it, so we aren't playing there again. Not with us, but amongst other bars and things like that. Community drama, I guess.
Fair.
Yeah.
Well, all that drama aside, it was a fun show, and
it was a very
really
fun
intimate.
show.
Yeah, intimate too. It was a very like I remember the pit area of sorts was sort of like a narrow runway almost.
Yeah, and that was after so this would have been I don't even remember when it was, but before you guys played there, maybe a year before it must have been, it was a larger venue, and they ended up cutting it in half. So then everything, the stage was really small, the walkway was, basically the only area for a pit. But again, it was cool to play there because if there were people, it looked like it was a huge crowd, right?
Right. No, yeah. It was a packed house every show I've ever done there.
Yeah, totally.
So, but it was a good time. That was an interesting show. But so, I mean, you were in JXV, but a lot of people, I mean, I assume a lot of the people who are into Our Frankenstein might not know who you are and what you do. Is there anything you can tell us about that?
Sure. So I am Rikk R Treat. Currently, I play drums and am a founding member of the Writhers. I used to play in a band called JXV, which was like a horror hardcore band. I was also the drummer in a death rock band called They Feed at Night. So if you don't know me from the Writhers, you probably know me from They Feed at Night because I was in that band for quite a while.
Which is interesting because I've always wanted to see you in They Feed at Night, but I think I only met you, or at the time I only knew you from JXV.
Yeah, and there was some overlap. Whenever I started another project, it was not even at the tail end of the other band. It was maybe a year or two from, that band ending, dissolving in some way, right? So JXV started like in the middle of like a lot of good stuff for They Feed at Night, right? We had played like Colorado Goth Fest. We're getting on pretty decent shows. I just wanted something on the side to sort of allow some creativity from my own writing perspective, right, and do something a little bit more heavy. Because T-Fan was heavy, but in a different way, right? It was more ambient, more atmospheric, where JXV was trying to be more of what I listened to in like high school. You know what I mean? The Writhers was actually a side project for JXV as well.
Interesting. So that was going to be my next question. I was going to assume you are a founding member of the Writhers.
Yeah. So it was actually Robert and I. Robert had our singer. He had the idea, and he and I met when I was playing in JXV. And he would like, we met at a show. He was doing a bunch of zines at the time. Like he's like a really good graphic artist, right? And so he was doing a bunch of zines, and so we got connected that way. And I'd run into him at different shows. I mean, he was always the guy wearing a pink shirt, you know what I mean, wearing his classic button pink shirt, right? And so he'd come up to me at shows, and he'd like, "Hey man, this is a song that I wrote. Check it out." Right. And so, we got connected through that. And I think there was a show that I was doing a pin company. I kind of started this pin company at the time.
I think I remember.
Yeah. And so it was like right in the infancy. Right. So he and I went to a pin convention up in LA when I was still living in San Diego. And then afterwards we were going to see Argyle Goolsby of Blitzkid and Calabrese play a show together in LA. And so that whole time we're just talking, we're sort of hashing out ideas for the Writhers, right? And he was like, I was throwing a JXV show in, it would have been, I think it was like in December. And he's like, hey, if you still need a band, like if I get the Writhers together, how long is the deadline? I'm like, let's like figure it out around Thanksgiving, and we'll, we can put it on there. And so I think we started our first practice, of all places, it was in the like music room of a church, that I guess that the guitarist was, I think he was like the youth pastor at when Robert was growing up, when they were like growing up together. I don't know exactly the story. I might be botching it, but we got to practice that at a church. And we wrote the first 4 Writhers songs, which are the ones on our Ghastly Reminders EP.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy.
So I was actually not even originally supposed to be the main drummer. I was like, hey, I'll be the drummer until, you find someone else. And they played one show without me and apparently was terrible. And they tried out a different guy, and they were just like, hey, are you sure? Come on, and I was like, actually, yeah, I'm down, because JXV is going to dissolve at some point soon. So.
Well, so it was just a natural transition for you into this band.
Yeah, totally. And what I think I appreciate about playing in this band, aside from the fact that it's less members than JXV, because for those who don't know who JXV was, right, we were a 6-man band, and it was too many cooks in the kitchen a lot of the time, right? But with this being a 4-piece, it's a lot easier, but also Robert is pretty open and eclectic in his musical tastes, right? So we're kind of weird and we mesh a bunch of stuff. And that's what I like about all 3 of the bands that I've been in. It's not like one single genre specific, right? We can throw in different stuff.
That's what I like about you guys, actually. Unfortunately, haven't had the opportunity to see you live. I know I did have an opportunity before I went on tour to see you guys with Wednesday 13.
Yeah.
And I missed that, which I'm sorry.
That's okay. The show itself was very fun. Like, it was probably one of the most. I'll get into the story in a second, but you didn't miss a good set. We were awful. We sounded terrible, but it was a lot of fun. No. There is, but that goes into the story. There's a reason why we sounded terrible.
Okay. Well, what I was gonna say, say originally, before you get into that, what I was gonna say originally was that watching you guys, especially the unplugged performance you guys did, there was such an eccentric like attitude to like it's horror punk, it's creepy, but it doesn't take itself too seriously.
Right. And I think that's because of the influence that Robert brings into it. His favorite bands are like They Might Be Giants and like this band called Blaster the Rocket Man, which is essentially like like a weird mesh of Dead Kennedys and like whatever else they want. So, I think the fact that he's coming from that spot, and our guitarist doesn't really listen to horror punk at all. Like, I think he does the stuff that we've played with, right? But that's not his influence. He's influenced by like Jimi Hendrix and classic rock and things like that, and jazz and shit, right? And so we just kind of mesh everything together, and it works.
I love that. That's super cool. That's what keeps it eclectic, I guess.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Well, tell me about this Wednesday 13 show.
Oh my God. So our guitarist, so I took the day off. It was Wednesday something, right? I took the day off from work. I drive down to San Diego from Orange County. That venue we're supposed to be there at. You played Brick by Brick, so you know that I think call time is pretty early, right? They wanted the locals to be there at like 2 or 3, right? And yes, you have to shake it up and like let it go everywhere. So it's
I don't even have enough. I got But go on.
And so I got there at 2. I have my drums. I knew that our guitarist Chewy was going to be there after work, right? He didn't take the day off. So I went, I picked up his amp, I picked up his stuff, got there. Everyone else started trickling in, and we set up, right? Everything was good. But Chewy was going to be coming from Anaheim after work at like 5. He'd get out of work at 5 to San Diego when we needed to be there we needed to start playing at like 6, right?
Ooh, my anxiety is going right now.
That's how I felt the entire day. I was so anxious about it, right? And he texts in the chat. He goes, ETA 5:55, and I'm like, this motherfucker, he did it. I started laughing. Like I couldn't. I was like, oh my god, he did it, right? And so he gets there. He gets there on time. We start, but the unfortunate thing is the reason we didn't sound good was because he didn't get a chance to mess with his pedals and his guitar before we went on, right? And unfortunately, we didn't have the foresight to, our bass player Kenny. He plays guitar. He's like a fucking virtuoso as well, right? So he could have done something, but we didn't think about this. We're like, okay, Chewy's got it. It'll be fine, right? And yeah, no, he didn't got it, right? And we sounded like crap. But again, it was a lot of fun, mainly because of that, because I was like super relieved, and like it was a pretty packed show for a Wednesday, and right for Wednesday. But the cool thing was the other locals were some old friends of mine in Squirrely Arts, and I love those guys. Arts. Yeah, those are, I've played with them in T-Fan since the beginning of when I joined T-Fan, right? Like we played a lot of shows together, so it was really cool because they had just gotten back together.
Squirrely Arts, yeah, that's like the first really cool industrial band I got to see in San Diego for sure.
Yeah.
And I believe they are San Diego natives.
Yes. Did you go to when they played with Cyclone 9? Did you see them there?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, I was at that show too.
Oh, that's weird.
That was before we knew each other.
Yeah, yeah, I was at that show.
So it was a lot of fun. People got Robert drunk, so that was funny to see. And so overall, it was a lot of fun. I'm glad it happened. I'm not even mad that we sucked.
That's rock and roll, man.
Yeah, totally.
I mean, I have this story. I think it was our third to last show on tour, and we were playing in Phoenix.
Okay.
We were coming all the way from. Excuse me, here. I'm going to pick up my tour lanyard so I can actually know where I was. Whoop! Getting hooked on all my shit here. Okay. So I was in El Paso, Texas.
Okay.
And we had to go to Phoenix the next day. And, that is a bit of a drive.
Yes.
A lot of people know that's a doozy. You got to go through New Mexico in order to get there. And basically, that morning, I don't know what it was, but we were being young and stupid. And I say this even though it was like 3 months ago.
Right.
And we ignored our oil issue in the van up until that point. So that morning we had to take care of first we had a 3-4 hour like Scooby-Doo scenario. We're running through doors and shit. And we're just trying to figure out, okay, are we going to this place? No, we're not. Okay, are we going to this place to get a new van? Are we going to this place to get our oil change? No, it's going to take too long there. Here. And this whole time we're wasting time.
Sure.
We eventually go to, Firestone or whatever, get our oil changed. That takes three or so hours. Jeez. And then we get on the fucking road. We don't get a sound check with the rest of the touring band.
Right.
So we get to the show, I want to say 15 minutes before we hit the stage.
Wow.
So that's not even like some of us are at the venue, holding down the fort. That's
all of you.
Arriving.
Wow.
That was a nightmare, especially because we had backing tracks.
Yeah. Yeah, I can imagine.
You know how it goes, so it's whoo. But for some reason, that was probably one of the best shows of the whole tour.
Nice.
You know,
That's
it was
sick.
just fun.
I'm glad that it turned around.
Yeah. Oh, it did. Like, it was way more fun. I definitely love that show more than, no offense, LA. You have my heart, but that energy I get in Arizona was beautiful.
Sure. Well, I mean, I get that. When we were on tour, the best spot for us, aside from San Diego, so I mean, being a San Diego band, I'm glad that it was, our best spot. But I mean, better than LA for us was like Reno, Nevada. Out of all places, like that was the best spot.
Did you play at Shays?
I don't know why it's blanking from me, the name.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't. I think it was called. No, I don't remember what it's called at all.
It's all good.
But it was fun. Like, we lucked out, and people came out, people watched, and then everyone was stoked on us. So everyone bought stuff and gave us tips. So we made. I mean, we were very successful that tour because so far, luckily for us, we've been successful on both of the tours that we've been on. But that one we made profit, and for underground bands, that's pretty unheard of.
It is. Oh God,
So,
it is.
Yeah, we lucked out.
Was that your guys' the tour you guys did last fall?
Yeah. So actually, this is, what day is today? Today is the 3rd. It is the we would have started September 29th, I think, or 27th. So we'd be halfway through the tour right now last year.
Oh shit! Wow, how many weeks was that?
It was 10 shows, 11 days.
Okay.
Yeah,
Fuck
so we had a break day from Washington. So it was like a little past Seattle is where we played. And so we played there and then had a break day to drive to San Jose, which was good that we had the break day, but it took the entire day to drive there. Luckily we had the next day. We stayed at Chewy's brother's house. And so we just got to hang out for the rest of the day. We didn't go anywhere. We just slept,
Well, God, I mean, I got 3 days off on my last tour, and that's all I wanted to do was just sleep.
Yeah.
People are like, "Wow, you go sightseeing." I'm like, no.
I feel like that's a thing that you do when you like have been on tour already, right? Like then you go sightseeing, but
get your sea legs a little more,
Yeah, totally. Like this was our second one as a band, but this was our first one with our current bass player. And I don't think I make fun of him all the time, but like after day one, he was like done. He was like, I can't believe we have to do this for 10 more days, So
oh God, I felt like that, and then I was like, wait, we got 24, 25 more shows.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. I want to get into some tour stories
Sure.
with you pretty soon, but before we do that, I want to play one of your songs,
Okay.
because we do play music on here. But I'm going to get into one of your I want to say it's one of your newer releases, right? Greasy Stranger.
Yeah.
Strangler.
So,
Jesus Christ.
Greasy Strangler. That's our latest single. We dropped it in January of this year.
Okay, so yeah, literally the beginning of the year. All right. Didn't mean to butcher your name there for a second.
It's all good. We accidentally did that to ourselves. We almost released it as Greasy Stranger until Robert realized he botched the artwork. So luckily he's like, I have to do this. Yeah.
Hey, either or works, man. But we're going to get into that song right now. But before we do, is there any funny story you can tell us about that, or anything that goes into the recording of that you can tell us about that song?
I'm trying to think. I guess interesting fact on this one was a live track, at least on drums. So it wasn't done to a click like most of our other stuff has been, which is pretty cool. You can tell with the vibe of it that it lends better to something like that anyway. As much as horror punk typically leans on horror movies, right? While this one's actually, I think, maybe our only song that's loosely associated with a movie by the same name, Greasy Strangler.
Yeah, okay. That's what I was going to ask you that, but I didn't want to assume.
Yeah, I've never seen it, but I hear it's phenomenal, and I need to. So
You got to check it out, man.
Yeah.
But with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, the Writhers, Greasy Strangler.
Exactly what hole did you crawl out of to wreak your havoc on the world above? Taking advantage, disturbing the peace. Your heart once pure, now covered with grease. It is slimy and offending, strangling them like you do. You are greasy and forgetting your victims are people too. Is there a point that you were trying to make? Without consent, the forceful way that you take. You are disgusting, but why do I see something in you that resembles me? It is slimy and offending, strangling them like you do. You are greasy and forgetting your victims are people too. Are we aiding and abetting when one does something you do? It's a little bit upsetting, learning I am greasy too. It is slimy and offending, strangling them like you do. You are crazy and forgetting your victims are people too. Are we aiding and abetting when one does something you do? It's a little bit upsetting, learning I am crazy. You are slimy and offending, strangling them like you do. You are crazy and forgetting your victims are people too. Are we aiding and abetting when one does something you do? It's a little bit upsetting, learning I am crazy too.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Cybernetic Séance Podcast. I am your host, Ryan Laney, aka Ryan Frankenstein. I play Nexus, the chrome-faced zombie robot guy from Our Frankenstein. And in case you are just now tuning into the live stream, our guest today... Where's my hand? Our guest today is Rikk R Treat, the drummer for the band The Writhers. And you were just listening to The Writhers, Greasy Strangler.
Hello,
My
hello,
man.
welcome.
Yeah, my man, that was good. I love this shit, man. I love how you guys are horror punk, I guess, at your roots, so to speak.
Right.
But it goes beyond that. It transcends the genre, I suppose. It's not you guys aren't a one trick pony, I guess I would say.
Sure, I appreciate that. I think, like I said, we have so many different influences that they're bound to, kind of come in at some point. For that one in particular, for me personally, I feel like that one's a little bit more on the like crampsy side for some of our stuff.
For sure.
But then I throw in what to me is like a metalcore breakdown at the end. Like I even have the Zill bell, duck, duck, ding, and then go back into it. So. I realized another fun fact about it from when you had asked earlier. This is actually one of, so far we've put out a few singles I think this is one of 3 songs that, actually one of 4 songs that are older tracks that we did not record for any of our EPs that we're doing as single releases. So our first one from 2021 was Spend the Night. So that song is a single we dropped. That was one of our older tracks. And then we released Greasy. We have one that we haven't even touched yet in years, right? And then we have another one that we actually just recorded in August.
Do you guys plan on putting that one out?
Yeah, so that one's actually meant to be on a split with another local band called Butt Candy.
Okay.
Yeah, so that'll be a fun one. That one's called Drown in the Swamp. We've actually resurrected it for live shows now. So if anyone sees us live anytime soon, then we'll be playing that one for sure. That one's fun because, at least from my perspective, it's got a little bit more of a gothy vibe to it. There's a little bit more atmosphere, a lot more feedback. I'm doing like a more, I guess, stereotypical 16th note pattern on a hi-hat sort of dance beat for the chorus. So
okay,
little different for us, but it's fun. Yeah,
I'm excited to hear it. Going off of that topic a little bit, I want to go back to what we kind of talked about a little bit before. Jesus, I can never speak. Tours. You guys did 2 tours. Were they completely independent, or how did those go?
Yeah, so both of them were completely DIY. I believe I booked both of them. Just went through different little promoters or friends that I have that could hook us up on a show, right? Both of them went pretty well. The first one was a tour for our Ghastly Reminders EP, like right before it dropped. I believe that would have been 2019 in the fall. And that was, I believe, 4 or 5 show run. We did, I'm trying to remember, we did Orange County. Where's the other spot? Like Fresno, San Francisco, Riverside, and then the week before that we played a Halloween show in San Diego. So technically we were counting it as 5, but they weren't connected, right? That one was good. Same thing as before. It was we were able to profit a little bit after paying off the bands and stuff. So and for me that one was specifically surprising because we hadn't, while the songs were out for Ghastly Reminders, the physical copies weren't available yet. Due to timing of everything, we didn't have those complete yet. So the fact that we were able to, pay everything off and pay ourselves back, quote unquote, right, was surprising. This next one was the longer one. That was to promote our single Halloween Inside, which came out, I believe, the 15th or the 16th of October last year. And so that one was a little bit longer, right? We went up the coast, and that one was good. The scary, difficult part of that one was also van related. And
it always is.
It always is, right? Always is. But yeah, overall it was good. It was really good. Even, despite the, long drives from like the Bay to Portland and things like that, like Washington back down to the Bay, like it was good. It was a lot of fun. Yeah.
That sounds awesome. Would you say you had a specific show that popped out to you on that second tour?
Aside from, like I said, I think the 2 main ones were Reno and San Diego. So Reno being the best, like out of town show for us, out of state show for us that we had played since, up until, that was the best one, period, I guess, right? Especially with such a bad show in Vegas the day before. It wasn't that it was bad because like we sucked or anything, but like we got thrown onto a Vegas one last minute, and it was a local showcase, and it was a great local showcase, but we got thrown on at the end of the show, so no one stuck around. Yeah, so we were playing to like 3 people, 4 people, and not that is in itself matters, but I mean, you know how it is. It's hard to be into it if no one else is into it around you, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, you got to feed off the energy of the crowd.
Yeah.
And everything down.
And we played it. Oh, this is what pisses me off the most. We played a Ramones cover that night. Like we threw in, we're like, okay, like let's get people into this. We played, Hey Ho, Let's Go, and no one cared.
What?
Yeah. So I was like, at that point, I'm like, let's just play our last song. Let's be done.
Do you have any horror stories from that tour? Not specifically like supernatural, but like things that were like horrifyingly going wrong. It can be supernatural though.
I wish we had that. That would have made it even more interesting, right? I think it really would have just been the van related stuff. So for some reason, I was in charge of the van, and so I was in charge of picking up the van. And I do have some experience driving vans, but not very much, right? And not a 15-seater van. And somehow we originally we paid for a 12-seater, and they ran out. And so they gave us a 15-seater. Cool, right? But I guess I didn't realize this. When you order a van now, they don't do a walk around with you. You you take the van, which has the keys in it already, I guess, and that is it. Well, your boy is not the greatest at driving a van, as I had said, and so I essentially got into a small fender bender in the parking lot 5 minutes into having the van, and luckily for me, I'm a terrible person, so I just zoomed out of there, and they did nothing about it. But that was, to me, a bad omen.
Yeah.
And so that day we would have been playing in Santa Ana. I, got back to the house, tried to take stuff out of the van to make sure that I could fit everything right. Robert got there. We went up. We got Ken. And on the way to go to Chewy's house, which is in Santa Ana. At the time, I was living in San Diego. So I had moved back San Diego for a couple months and then came back to Orange County, right? And so we were driving back up to Orange County, and the tire pressure valve, I guess, was blinking. And so we're like, we just got this van. They didn't do a check. I hope nothing's wrong with it. Yeah. So the next day, after we played in Santa Ana, we just crashed at Chewy's house in Anaheim. And then we're like going places looking for vans to switch out with, because they gave us a van that had the pressure gauge busted already, right? It wasn't that the tire pressure was bad, but it was that the gauge wasn't reading it properly. So we wouldn't know if the tire pressure was bad, right? Oof. And so, Murphy's Law, and, everything's going to go wrong. They didn't have any vans for us to switch out. And so we just took that van and paid attention to it. Knobs were popping off of it during the tour, and, things like that were happening. We get back to San Diego the day that I have to return it is our last show date, right? And I'm like, Chewy, can you please just come with me and like use your stern voice so we can make sure we don't get in trouble for this, right? And so he actually said, this is the positive part of the story. He confronted them about it, and they took off like a good $50 to $60 off of how much we were supposed to pay for it in the first place. So we got a big van for cheaper, and then we got a discount on that too. And I fucked up the van, and no one knew. You know what I mean? So all in all, it worked out for us, but it was terrifying.
God, the vans are the worst issue.
Yeah, right.
I always hear even horror stories with guys. I've even seen horror stories with guys. Bands will not be named, where they rent a bus, and even the bus on a daily basis is breaking down. It's
that
like
sucks.
Yeah, it's not an ideal situation, and I've
No.
noticed that's a huge reoccurring thing. Like, because we had to switch out our van halfway through the tour.
Was that because of issues with it, or because you were traveling?
There weren't certain checks done on the van we were using. Granted, we were using something a little smaller,
Sure.
but still, it kind of goes to show that a lot of these places aren't doing the necessary checks. So you kind of have to either take it with a grain of salt, or take initiative and do the check yourself before you even take the transportation off the lot.
Right. Right. My rule of thumb now is that I'm not in charge of vans. I don't want to have to deal with anything like that. Chewy can deal with it.
Yeah, me either. I should not be put in charge of things like that. I'm like, nope. Someone else, someone who knows cars.
Right. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Right. I'm the one who set up the tour. I'll set up all the shows. I'll make sure we have places to crash. I'll do all that stuff because I already know how to do that. Right. I am not going to be in charge of the car.
Yeah. You're like, I got my department. That's it. Let's keep it there. Yeah. Well, shit, dude. I want to play another one of your songs.
Okay.
This one, I believe, is a little older. It's Rot. Yeah.
This one's a love song. You can dance to it if you want to.
Okay. So I know it's midday, everyone, but if you guys feel like putting on your dancing shoes, we're gonna do this right now. Ladies and gentlemen, Rot from the Writhers.
Working extra hard just to make my way. Dying inside, looking to the point that I can be free, doing nothing at all. Just you and me. When the time comes, I'll dig a trench in the ground. In a quiet wood with tombs all around. Make it extra deep, make it extra wide. And move your two bodies side by side. Oh, all I wanna do is rock. Lying next to you and rock. What you wanna do today? Not a lot. All I wanna do is rock. Join in the fun, I'll bury you with me. Bones and decaying pride is all we'll see. When they come for us, we won't make a peep. Hear the stars above because we're 6 feet deep. Can they read the sign that says R.I.P.? Wish they go away so they let us be. Look down at the words, see that they're well fed. Wanna say they away because we're already dead. Oh, all I wanna do is rock. Right next to you and rock. What you wanna do today? Not a lot. All I wanna do is rock. Until they resurrect my flesh. Pain in waking torture as I am worked to the bone. I'll always be dreaming of a hole in the earth where I'm decomposing with the pretty little corpse that I call my own. Oh, all I wanna do is rock. Lie next to you and rock. What you wanna do today? Not a lot. All I wanna do is rock. No, all I wanna do is rock. Lie next to you and rock. What you wanna do today? Not a lot. All I wanna do is rock. Let's decay all day.
Ooh, I like that. Let's decay all day. Ladies and gentlemen. If you were just now tuning in, or if you were just tuning in during the song, that was Rot from the Writhers. You are listening to the Cybernetic Séance Podcast. I'm not doing the clapping on my hands anymore. I got one of these now.
You don't even need hands.
Fuck them hands. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm your host, Ryan Laney, aka Ryan Frankenstein, if you guys still remember that phase. I play the chrome-faced robot zombie guy in the little suit. His name's Nexus, and the band Our Frankenstein. Ladies and gentlemen, you are back at the Cybernetic Séance Podcast, episode 9. I'm here with Rikk R Treat from the Writhers. We were just playing some of his music, and we're just shooting the shit. And so, yeah, welcome back. Here it is, my mate.
Yay.
So, dude, tell me about that project. Was that off of a larger a catalog of music?
Yeah, so that is actually our second EP called In One Gulp. Ironically, has one more song than our first one, but is still shorter somehow.
So how many EPs or albums do you guys have?
So we have 2 EPs and we've released 3 singles. We have the goal of releasing one more EP, possibly a split, and possibly another single, and then an LP. We don't have the music written yet for an LP. We have a few songs, but we haven't. We're going to ideally be working on that next year.
Cool. So I guess my next question was going to be, I forgot. Just kidding. Well, not really. My next question was going to be, who did your artwork, man? Because I've noticed you guys have a reoccurring little character or like motif in a lot of your guys' work. Like, who did that? Is that one of you guys or?
Yeah, so Robert actually does all of our artwork. That character on the front of the first 2 EPs is called Devil Mask. And if you actually see the artwork layout on both the first 2 EPs, it has pictures of like renditions of us as well. In the second one, In One Gulp, the booklet art is us being chased by Devil Mask.
Who is this Devil Mask? Is he just kind of like just a guy you guys put in the artwork? Is there any like backstory to him or?
So there is. So as far as real world backstory, we played a show in Compton a few years ago, and Robert found this plastic devil mask at a 99-cent store and a cape. And so he started wearing that for shows. He would, wear that. Robert plays the accordion live sometimes. And so he would sort of do a Pied Piper type thing where he'd walk into the crowd and accordion with the devil mask and the cape, right? And walk up to the stage. And then we'd play an intro song, and then he'd take it off and we'd play another song, right? And
I'm all about masks, man.
Yeah,
so
yeah, totally. Yeah, it's. I think it's a fun, a fun way to separate yourself from. I mean, other bands would be just your stage presence, right? If we do things like that, that's why I'm all about the uniforms and the makeup. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so that is the real world background of Devil Mask. We actually haven't been using that character live recently. I'm not sure why. I think maybe we need to get a new mask or fix the one that we have or something. As far as the character in the artwork, there is a lore to it, and that will actually be, I'm hoping, I think this is the plan, that's going to be explored within the actual LP.
That would be awesome, because I mean, not speaking from experience or anything, but I happen to have a certain guy in my artwork that ties into our story as well. So when I see that, it always intrigues me. Even like the was it like the Crimson Ghost from like Misfits? So Eddie,
right,
Iron Maiden. It's like you see that character and you're like, oh, who is that? Does he have a story?
Yeah, I mean, it pops out and gives people interested, especially if it's something that we can take and use live, when we have the resources to do so. We also have a few other characters within our lore. So on that same EP, within the chase scenes in that booklet, there's 2 characters. One's called Roach Boy and one's called Hell and Earth, and so if Devil Mask is the bad guy, there are our adversaries, right? And so we use those on we have some merch items with Roach Boy on it now. I'm thinking about putting him on my bass drum eventually, right? So the goal is to continue lean into those characters and you know, it makes it fun, right?
Absolutely. I think it gives a band like a whole dimension, that if there's like a backstory or something going on, even if you guys are just putting on a show, like people can look into your artwork or your music videos and they can like create something on their own or follow
Yeah,
along, It's
yeah,
cool.
totally.
Yeah, I mean that's the whole reason why I love putting on a mask and the suit and playing my guy now, I mean I wish I was doing that a long time ago, but
Yeah, and it's funny how in hindsight you're like, oh, I should have done this
yeah.
when we started, right?
Yeah.
Because even when the band started, I wasn't wearing like right now I wear a pink pumpkin bolo tie, right? But
Ooh.
before that, I was just wearing a pink bow tie. But even in
Okay.
our beginning stages, I wore a button shirt. You know what I mean? Like that was it. I didn't wear a tie or anything. There was no pink on. Actually, originally we had armbands, but those we only did that once because they wouldn't stay and everything, right? So I look back and I'm like, I wish that we had the idea a little bit more shelled out. Clearly, it didn't matter,
Yeah.
but you know how it goes.
I think what you guys are rocking is really cool. I mean, just from as an outsider,
Hmm.
um if I'm not mistaken, I might have even heard about the Writhers even knowing you were in the band.
Hmm.
I maybe you had shared something, but I had saw the artwork and I thought, the pink and black motif and like, the devil mask and
Hmm.
everything, and I just thought, "Oh, this is cool. Like this is such a cool like even if this wasn't a band, I just like I mean I'm a visual person
Right.
before I was musical, so I was very much attracted to the artwork first, and I thought, oh, there's definitely something going on here. And then it didn't take me very long to be like, oh shit, Rick's in this band, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, even cooler. um Going into that, were there any like horror movies or any sort of like movies in general that inspired the band or even you?
Um, as far as the band goes, I mean, I don't know. Like I said, we're horror punk, I guess, on the like taking horror stuff and turning into music, but it's a little bit more
Yeah.
existential and like rather than movie. Like we have a song called "Kill the Monster," and that one is loosely based on Frankenstein, right? But if you actually listen to the lyrics, it's more real world horror, I think, than it is Frankenstein, right?
Right.
Same thing with we have a song called "I Like to Leave Marks." That one's a vampire song, but it's more of a jazz thing. So that one's again thematically vampires, but no movie in particular. But atmosphere wise, that one for me is influenced by like Interview with a Vampire, very jazzy, very New Orleans sort of thing going on. You know what I mean? Me personally, I mean, clearly I was in a band called Jason Voorhees, so like I do
Yeah.
love the first Friday the 13th. Ironically, he's not even in that one really. That
Yeah.
one's the best one. Um, I am a huge fan. So I don't know if you're familiar with The Collector, but that one's my favorite horror movie. So I got
Oh
that as a
yeah.
tattoo.
Yeah.
Um, you know, I I'm a big fan of the like Hostel films. Um, yeah, so I also really like Nosferatu and those ones too. So
Anything new you watch?
um, yesterday we watched a Spanish movie called Veronica. That was like a demon possession one. That was all right. It wasn't. I'm not huge into the demon possession movies. I don't believe in any of it, so I'm not afraid of it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it was pretty good. A newer. We watched Nope recently, and that was good. I like that a lot.
I fucking loved that movie.
Yeah,
Oh my god. I can go off about that movie for days, man.
I,
The
I
subverting
liked it a lot too. It was good. It
I
was
don't want to
surprising
say
too.
I don't want to say anything, but I feel like the monster has already been spoiled on all social media,
Probably.
even by like their own shit. So I want to say Jean Jacket was such a subversion of my expectations. The fact that it was an organism itself and not like
a craft.
Yeah, like what we would assume it to be. Like I loved that. I thought that was,
I did
I
too.
saw that. I saw that. I was like, oh, it kind of. And I was talking to my girlfriend when we were watching the movie. It kind of reminds me of like one of those deep sea predators and how it.
Yeah. Totally. That's 100%. I guarantee what they were trying to make it. It was kind of like. Right. It's funny. One of the commercials before that movie was that movie Beast with Idris Elba, right? And I was like, oh, that's just land Jaws, right? But now thinking about it, Nope is basically space Jaws.
It is space. It is land, space, sky Jaws. And it even follows a lot of the similar plot points to Jaws.
Yeah, no doubt.
They even we're going to need a bigger boat type scene.
Yeah, totally.
I thought that was hilarious because I even made that joke in the theater, and then I kind of was like, "Wait, is this
Jaws?
Is this?" That was good. Do you?
I like that one a lot.
Do you have Shudder by any chance?
I did during the first few months of the pandemic, but I don't anymore.
Yeah, I don't have it anymore, but I'm thinking of getting it again because there was some good stuff on there. I got to watch the McPherson tape and like Cannibal Holocaust and all those movies. And
yeah.
Any of those so you said you don't like possession films. Is there a specific genre of horror maybe you would lean towards the most?
So generally speaking, just aesthetically, I'm more of a wholesome Halloween kind of a person, right? I love cartoons and shit like that, right?
Yeah.
However, if we're talking about specific movies, I do like the torture movies. I do like the slashers. But typically, I'd lean more into like the meta slashers. Scream 1 and Scream 4 are probably two of my top 5 horror movies. What is it called? I think it's called Unmasked. Leslie Vernon. That one's pretty good. That one's like a meta film as well. I mean, honestly, I think if it's just a good movie, I'll like it, right? I really liked Let the Right One In. It's like the vampire film. That one's good, right? Ginger Snaps was a werewolf one we watched recently, like last year, I think. That one was really good. Yeah. Or maybe it was this year. I don't even remember, but that one's good. So...
On the topic of like wholesome horror, then, have you seen either of the two that came out, that being Hocus Pocus 2 and Rob Zombie's The Munsters?
I've seen The Munsters. I have not seen the Hocus Pocus yet.
Okay.
I'm a huge Munsters fan for the TV show. And so I was like, oh, this is out. I got to watch it.
Yep. Maybe I might have the most unpopular opinion, but I actually enjoyed it for what
I agree with your opinion. I think there's a lot that could have been done better. Like I would have preferred that he made it a limited series and then did like a laugh track along with it. Because some of the pieces that didn't hit right was just because like I was like, is that a joke? I don't like it didn't hit as a joke.
You're used to hearing a laugh track there. It's that time. It's that pause, like the timing and everything. It's like you need those sort of. I really loved. Now I'm good. I don't know his name off the top of my head, but he played Radagast from Hobbit, and he was the human form of Igor. Which
yeah.
I love that you got to see Igor, and then you got a little backstory as to why he's stuck as a bat, and
right.
I thought that was cool. I thought the movie was beautifully shot.
I didn't have any complaints about that. I know that Rob Zombie wasn't allowed to do black and white. Like Universal did not let him do that. So the fact that he did it in such bold, vibrant colors was just like, good for you. You did pretty much the opposite, It's a ballsy move, and I think it worked. I think so too.
It looks great. Mm-hmm. I had fun. I gave it at least 3 different I watched it 3 times.
Okay.
In the first 2 days it came out. And Yeah, there was some timing. I think the big thing with the jokes is just the timing. You need like a laugh track or something, and that would be cheesy, but it's
It would have fit,
also
I think. Yeah, it was
yeah,
a 60s sitcom, like
just a random disembodied like laugh track, and that'd be kind of funny to make them self-aware of it. They're just like,
right,
that'd be kind of funny, but that's just my humor.
right.
But for what it was, I enjoyed it. Um, I liked what's his name's two roles, not Jeff. Jeff was Herman.
Mhm.
I'm thinking of the gentleman who played the doctor.
Okay, Richard Brake, I believe is
Yeah, Richard
yeah,
Brake. He also played Orlok, the
yeah,
the Nosferatu.
yeah. That
And
was pretty funny.
my
He's like a DJ.
he's like a ladies' man too. And I don't know if you're following along to the story, but there was a news headline that he was devoured by his own rats. Herman's
Nice.
reading a newspaper before they moved to Hollywood. And if you read it on the newspaper, it says like local vampires devoured by pet rats,
Uh-huh.
which is funny because in the beginning of the film, he's
Right.
talking about all his rats.
He's like
and-
showing his children,
Yeah. He was
That was
kind of
pretty
like a bachelor, like a kind of like a fuck boy bachelor type.
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
Yeah, I think if you can get through if you understand the nuances, you could really enjoy the movie.
Well, I think
Um,
if you don't go in assuming it's going to be the show,
Yeah.
like I think a lot of people
I also
who
think
hate
if you
it
go
just,
in,
we're
Yeah.
like, this
think-
wasn't the TV show.
well, of course not. Were any of the subsequent films the TV show? No, but there
Right,
were some
exactly.
good ones that came out of there.
Right.
The first Christmas special is one of my favorites. I actually watch that every Christmas.
Nice.
It's a good one.
I have Munster Go Home. I have that one on DVD.
Yeah,
That one's pretty
that's
good.
a classic. You can't
Yeah.
go wrong. Can't go wrong with Monsters Go Home. Yeah, I mean, I really enjoyed it. Hocus Pocus 2. I only watched it once, and I actually just watched it yesterday. I don't want to say anything because you haven't seen it,
Mhm.
so I'm okay with spoiling it for people on my stream here, but not you because I like you.
Thank you.
So-
Thank you.
But it looks like, folks, we're nearing the end. We're getting to the end of the stream here. So before I do my last bit of plugging, not butt plugging, but if you guys are into that, that's cool. I love that.
That's on a
Beautiful.
different page, though.
That's Our Frankenstein 2.0, like the other account. So go to that one. You'll find that there. No shame. We never shame here.
No,
What?
not none whatsoever.
Ever. But Rick, plug yourself.
Okay.
Tell us where we can find you, your band, your music.
So, I do want to plug first. We are playing 2 Halloween shows. One on the 28th in San Diego at Tower Bar. That is our home venue. We love it very much. And then one on the 29th in Fullerton at Program Skate and Sound. That one's all ages. So come out, bring the kids. We are actually having our dear friends Evelyn's Casket come down from Washington to play both of those shows with us. They are basically the leading band in horror punk at the moment. So if you do not want to miss some legends play in your town, please come out.
Do it, man. It's Halloween.
Costumes are encouraged. You will get to see me dressed in a spicy little costume. And so that's going to be fun. Aside from that, we are also playing with Blitzkid, the biggest horror punk band under the Misfits. We're playing with them in Garden Grove, November 19th. So definitely get tickets to that one. It is going to sell out. It's almost sold out, I believe. You
What
can
venue is
find
that
us.
at?
That is at the Locker Room in the Garden Amp.
Okay.
Yeah. Oddly enough, we're playing the same day as the Ventures. So while I doubt it'll happen, my whole band is like, it'd be sick if we got to see the Ventures right after we play. I'm like, guys, it's not going to happen, but it would be cool.
It would be cool.
Yeah, it would be
Wishful
cool, right?
thinking.
Wishful thinking. See, I want to be
Yeah.
realistic so that no one gets their feelings hurt. You can find us on all the major streaming platforms. We are the Writhers, Writher. That is pronounced Writhers, not Rithers, not any other weird way that everyone else pronounce it. Kudos to you, Ryan, for pronouncing it correctly the first time.
I'm a fan. I'm a fan,
yeah,
boy.
yeah.
You know.
See,
I got
he knows. He knows. You can find us on Instagram, and we have a YouTube channel with a few things on there. Ideally, next year we're going to be adding more to it. Again, we're on all the social medias, Bandcamp, all that stuff. Bandcamp, you can find our merch there as well. I believe that's it. Aside from that, definitely go out to see Our Frankenstein at Club Terminal. You said it was the 15th?
Yeah.
Yeah, do that.
Yeah. Here I got the ticker tape. Oh wait, no, god damn it, that's the merch. Forget that ever happened, folks. Here we go. Yeah. October 15th, baby. Club Terminal, Downey, California.
That'll be fun. I've played a Club Terminal once before, and it was a good time.
It's a good time. It's a nice, intimate show. I like that. You guys will get Nexus and the rest of the Zombots nice and close.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can pop this up for the viewers here who need that visual aid. No, not visual aids. Guys, get your mind out of the gutter. I would never, ever, ever do something like that. But yeah, Our Frankenstein with live support, the Androgen. That's my boy Vincent's band. I believe that's featuring Angel Nightmare and Raven. So that's going to be cool, which is funny because he's got like a heavenly thing going on with his band now. So that's awesome. Good for him. Raven Angels. I don't know. He's got the duality going on in there. Anyway, go check out Vincent's band. Show up early. The doors open at 9:30. And it's free until 10. So get there early so you don't have to pay. We all know we're all cheap as fuck. We're broke ass music fans. Besides that, we're performing that virtual show on Halloween. That's going to be broadcasting exclusively on YouTube. So
Exclusively.
So that's October 31st, Our Frankenstein. 5 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. And I believe if you go to any of our social media, you can find kind of some times listed in major cities around the world. So if you're not from the United States, check that out. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for tuning in to the Cybernetic Séance Podcast. It was episode 9. Thank you to my guest, Rikk R Treat.
Thank you for having me.
Listen to the Writhers, and everyone, have a good night or day or whatever. Goodbye.